Hi, I'm Katie Durin with SmartThinking.com, and today we're going to talk about better ways to write college essays. In this first part, we're going to talk about different types of college essays. There are a few common types of college essays. They are argument, cause and effect, classification, compare-contrast, critical analysis, description, evaluation, illustration, narration, persuasion, research papers, and summaries. There's a few do's you want to keep in mind when writing an argument persuasion essay. Remember to develop a strong, argumentative, persuasive thesis statement. This essay is trying to convince others to agree with the facts and accept the argument, and you'll need to do that in your thesis. Remember to use research information to help prove your thesis. You'll need facts to back up your argument. And remember PI, the point, the illustration of the argument, and the explanation, which is the persuasion. Don't think that your readers can automatically see the connection between your information and your thesis statement. You'll need to incorporate the two together for the reader. Don't forget to cite any borrowed information, and it's important to not take an overly aggressive tone. You'll want to prove a point without offending the reader as well. For cause and effect essays, there's a few do and don'ts to keep in mind as well. Remember to develop a thesis statement that includes one or more causes and one or more effects. A cause and effect essay is concerned with why things happen, the cause, and what happens as a result, the effect. So remember to use examples to make connections between the causes and effect, such as the reason for the traffic jam was unknown, but the outcome was I was late to work. Remember to also use the cause and effects to develop the body of the essay. The cause and effect is the type of paper, so it's important to remember to incorporate that in the development of your essay. Don't think that your readers will connect the cause with the effect. You need to explain it. Don't use a logical fallacy to connect the cause and effect. The logic shouldn't have holes in it. And remember to not limit yourself to just one cause and effect. The more examples, the better. Some do's and don'ts for classification essays are to develop a thesis statement that includes the large group and the subgroups, the classifications. A classification essay organizes things by category and gives examples that fit into each category. Use examples to prove that your classifications are correct. An example of a classification is sports. The categories would be basketball, baseball, and football. Remember to also organize your essays so you devote one body paragraph to each classification. Don't classify for the sake of classifying. Have a specific purpose in mind for your divisions. Remember to not overlap the classifications so that one or more examples fits into two different subgroups. And don't limit yourself to a certain number of classifications for a topic, since you may leave out critical information. Some categories may require more subcategories, while others may require less. Some do's and don'ts for critical analysis and evaluation papers are to develop a thesis statement that makes a claim of your interpretation of the piece. Critical analysis is an analysis of a reading, so remember to use examples from the piece to prove your point. Also, focus on the quality of how well the piece is composed. Remember that you are writing a critique of the piece. Don't become so focused on your viewpoint that you miss critical information that the author provides. Also, don't give the author a poor review just because you don't agree with the piece. You must be able to be an impartial judge when you're analyzing. And also, make sure you don't make claims that you cannot support with evidence. Some do's and don'ts for a description and illustration essay are to use sensory details such as sight, sound, taste, touch, and smell where applicable. Remember that you're trying to describe something. Provide examples to help your reader understand your ideas. Using adjectives is helpful as well. Include a thesis statement that either provides a dominant impression of your chosen person, place, or object, the description, or provides a clear, concrete generalization, an illustration. Remember to not use vague descriptions, such as overly general examples or cliches. Also, do not just describe or illustrate for the sake of doing so. These descriptions and illustrations need to be purposeful. Also, don't forget that your description and illustration must have a point. You don't want to become overly descriptive that you forget the purpose. Some do's and don'ts for narration essays are to focus on a specific experience. Remember that you are telling a story. Provide enough details for your readers to easily understand, and use chronological organization, working from beginning to end. Don't narrate the whole experience when you only need a small portion. Don't forget to include dialogue, action, and description to make your experience come alive for your readers. And remember to not tell a story without having a specific point in mind. Some do's and don'ts for research papers are to conduct more research than you think you need and evaluate each of your sources. Remember to develop a thesis statement that makes a claim about your topic, using facts and evidence to support the thesis. Incorporate your research information by ensuring that it always proves your thesis statement and using a signal phrase where applicable. Don't forget to cite any borrowed sources. Remember to not rely solely on one source for your research information or limit yourself to including only traditional sources, such as books, magazines, and internet. You don't want your research to end up biased. Also, do not forget to explain how the research information proves your thesis statement. Some do's and don'ts for summary essays. In the introduction, explain what you are summarizing. Whether that's an article, book, or something else, you'll want to make it clear to the reader. Remember to include all the points of the piece you are summarizing, and remember to create logical connections between pieces of information in your summary. Don't use long quotations. Don't feel trapped into following the same organizational framework the author used. Remember, you're only doing a summary. You don't need to include everything from the original source. So that's a little bit about how to write different types of essays. Next, we're going to talk about choosing a genre, topic, and scope.
To watch the other segments in this video series or for how-to videos on almost any other topic, visit monkeyseed.com.